PipSnipers here, back for another update. Let's take a look at the PulseChain ecosystem today, and this does look like a macro triangle pattern. Now, triangle patterns, they can occur in a wave too, hence why it's within this B wave. So what I'm thinking is that from the initial drop down to up to the euphoria of that airdrop, this was your A wave. Then for over 658 days, that was our accumulation for our B wave. Now we can analyze the volume of this whole accumulation range, and our POC is sitting at around 403605. So we're currently right now on the 78.6% fib support. Now it's either that this is the bottom right over here and we don't see any lower, or we come down just a little bit to have some deviation below this this macro diagonal support towards the 88.6% fib at 402064. Okay, so it's either the low is in, or we come down just a little bit to have deviation below this diagonal support here. Okay, so now as you guys can see, we have reached within our E wave. So I would consider this our no trade zone. You wouldn't want to trade in and out too much over here. That would be advised, just because its volatility is likely to pick up, considering ETH looks like it has found a potential bottom. So taking a look at ETH over here. So taking a look at ETH over here, we do have bullish divergence on the daily time frame. We've also flipped into this oversold territory. Let me show you guys on this chart over here. I think I made it on this chart. Okay, so this is ETH. This is ETH. The thing is, I think the bottom is in, considering we did come and aggressively tap this median. So I think we're just going to have continuous drives down here, but not make a new low. So we're going to chop within this region and then see continuation higher. I did release a video earlier today on where I expect ETH to go, but you guys can check. You guys can have a little snippet of where I think it's going to go right here. Basically, I think it's going to have what's called a upthrust after distribution within its macro distributive range that's been going on since 2021. But yeah, I think ETH is bottomed here, considering we hit the 702 and then we also swept this psychological low. So if we consider PulseX like a leverage play on ETH, then it's likely that PulseX should bottom out within this region. And using the trend-based fib time, we do see a reaction going into the 14th, within the 11th to 14th of April. Okay, so around here. So big dates are 11th of April and May 1st. So when we use the trend-based fib time from our September low up to our December high and down to the current price, that's how you get this trend-based fib time. Now, in regards to the TP targets, we would be targeting the one-to-one target of this accumulation range, sitting at around 309731 to 201227 for a little bit of an aggressive target when in comparison to these linear fibs that we placed in the same way. Okay, so these are the safe targets, these are the aggressive targets, and you want to hold some coins aside just in case it blows past all these targets. You never want to sell it all. But essentially what I'm thinking is that PulseX comes back to the POC at 4036, and that all of these FUD attempts, I think it's all orchestrated, to be honest. They're doing this at pivots so they can accumulate before expansion. That's just my opinion. I think the charts come first and then the news. But yeah, this is PulseX. We'll take a look at incentive token, or we'll actually take a look at PLS first, and then we'll take a look at incentive token. We're not gonna spend too much time because they're essentially the same structure, considering they're all liquidity bonded. But yeah, I think I made it on this chart right here. Okay, that's not it. I should probably bookmark it for next time, but yeah, can't find it. It's basically the same thing as PulseX. I think it's down here actually. Right here. Oh, there we go. So this is your triangle pattern, and we just came down to sweep the lows. I want to see these lows hold though. So let's just remove all of this right here. These are the lows. Okay? This is the ultimate low, the lowest recorded price before this low. And you see we swept it on the daily time frame, and then we had a push back above it. So as long as we can stay above this low, or above this yellow line sitting at 403134, then we should be good for a move back to the 50-day SMA, right over here at 404434, and back to the 200-day, which would be about 37 and 59% gain. Now from there we will have to see. It's likely that if it were to come up here and then close above the 50 and the 200, it would likely mark this as being the bottom, and then we can consider this as just an accumulation range as PulseX, just in a little bit of a different format, right? Chop over here, and then continuation up. And then we would look at the same targets. These are your targets in a very simplified format. Now let's take a look at incentive token. This is incentive token right here. It's looking okay. This was actually my last post to the Discord members that we would likely see just... Actually, I made this in a live. I made this in a live stream that we would just see chop to the upside over here. And that this is just your Wyckoff accumulation range that we've been in for almost 1 year. This was your spring, which is your extreme, and then this is your test. So whenever you have your Wyckoff range, you have all of this chop, and then once you get to the spring, once you sweep the range low, that would be your spring, and then you see a rapid rise, and then you see a test. You have a test of the lows, and then you have your grind to the upside, your last point of support, and then off she goes for your sign of strength. You usually come back to tap the range as support before continuation. So I'm thinking that's what we're seeing right now. This is your spring, this is your test, and then we're going to grind up here, likely towards, let me see here. We're likely going to grind up, let me see, to about 645 to 835. Let me just zoom in over here. It's a little bit too far. All right, so if you just take a fib from this March high down to this spring, and look at the 786 on the linear and the log scale, this is where I think we'll find resistance at. Come down to back test this accumulation range before we have continuation up towards the higher targets, right? You need you need people to sell. If you think about it, that's how you get new people into the space. There needs to be a constant exchange of buying and selling. So once we get up to this region, if we come down back to this region, don't panic, because this would be just your backup phase. You have your euphoria if we get up here, which we likely will. And then you have your backup phase, and then you have your continuation. So don't be surprised if we do something like this where we come back and then we have continuation from there. But yeah, these are the core coins, PLS, PulseX, and incentive token. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Peace out and take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.